Welcome back to the Jeff Crilley Show. My next guest is Dr. Jade Malay. She is a healthy living expert. Her website is dallasnaturaldoctor.com. Welcome to the Jeff Crilley Show.
Thanks, Jeff. Thanks for having me.
Well, share your journey with us. How did you always want to go into to practice as a little girl?
I knew I wanted to be in healthcare. Mm-hmm. And when I was doing my undergrad at Baylor, a friend of mine convinced me to do a volunteer at Parkland Hospital. So I did that one summer, was at the ICU and the ER, and decided at that point in time that's not the path that I wanted. I want to be more on the other side of healthcare, more on the wellness, to avoid what I saw was going on in the hospital. So that's when I took a different path and went more to the wellness to help people, show them how to stay healthy so they never end up in the hospital.
As you look back on your schooling, how many courses were actually devoted to healthy lifestyle choices, and how much were taking care of illness?
The school that I went to, it's about half and half. So we got to know why the body turns the way it does, but then a big focus was on how to keep that body healthy. So that's been my focus ever since I've been in practice, is how do we keep the body healthy so we never develop these diseases, yes, never have to worry about being dependent on someone, losing our independence, and staying healthy.
Well, I know a big mission for you is getting people off of pills.
Yes.
I'm sure there are cases where people are coming to you and they're taking 15 different pills, and then it's not even clear how they're interacting.
It's crazy. I mean, I treat diabetes naturally, thyroid naturally. We deal with a lot of pain, and people will bring in bags of pills. I think the most someone ever brought to me was like 25 different prescriptions. And I think we all know that that's not normal and not good. But this is what happens when there's so many providers involved and no one really knows what the other one's doing. And people get on this path of just taking more and more pills. So our idea is to let's get the body working how it needs to be. Once we do that, well, then we can reduce medication. We can get blood sugar down. We can help people live without insulin. And that's the most rewarding part of my job, is seeing people get their health back, get their lives back. I think a theme that I've heard today from your other guests is we want to impact people's lives. And that's my job, is to help impact people's lives so they can be an impact on someone else.
I know the healthcare system seems to be, driven to, these doctors only have like 5 minutes with somebody, and so they just come in and they write a prescription, and that's really, I think, a recipe for disaster. Nobody is spending enough time with the patient to get to the bottom of the problem.
Yeah, that's part of what our healthcare system is going through, is that insurance reimbursements are down, so doctors are forced to have to see so many people, double book, triple book, and that's why we're all waiting in the waiting room so long. So something needs to change with that. And patients, what they need to do is they need to take responsibility for their health care as well, and decide that they don't want another pill, that they want to take a different path, because we all know the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over, expecting something different to happen. If you want your life to be different, well, then you have to do something different.
Wow. Tell me one of your favorite success stories.
Oh, wow. There's so many. I mean, one that I'm working with right now, this lady, she was on a lot of insulin. And in a short period of time, in just 6 weeks, we were able to get her insulin down by 40 units. And for someone who's on insulin, that's a lot of insulin. And it has changed her life. She is able to engage in life more. She's lost weight. She's more energetic. And another story of someone who is on thyroid medication. So these people are really suffering. And what's devastating about people who have thyroid problems is they look fine on the outside. If you were to walk down the street, you'd never guess that there was something wrong with them. But on the inside, they're fatigued. They can't think. They're having brain fog. And this one lady was telling me that her brain was not working to the point where sometimes she would forget where she lived. Wow. And that's scary. And this is someone who's young, so in their 40s. Unable to remember how to drive home. And she wouldn't tell her family because she didn't want to scare them. But she told me that once we were able to work with her, get her brain functioning better, she was able to not only drive home, but advance in her career, and it changed her life.
I know from talking with other guests in the past that inflammation is a huge deal. Talk about that.
Yes, inflammation is what is killing Americans. The number one killer of Americans is stroke and heart attack. Cancer is not far behind. And these are all problems of inflammation. So when inflammation happens to the body, it's going to happen everywhere, not just in one area. And inflammation happens in the gut, it happens in the brain. And so this is why we're seeing these brain-based problems, is because of the foods that we're eating that cause inflammation, our unhealthy lifestyles. So we got to get this inflammation under control, or we will just continue to see these devastating diseases.
And when we talk about inflammation, it also affects the brain. Is that right?
Exactly. So this is what's leading to some of the problems that we see now that we didn't see when we were kids. So we never heard of ADHD and ADD, but kids are being diagnosed with it right and left and being put on medication. If we would simply change their diet, change some lifestyle habits, we would see this go away.
What about the food that we're eating these days? Is it different than the food our grandparents were eating?
Oh, certainly. I mean, especially the number one inflammatory food, which is gluten. So we're talking about wheat, barley, things like this. I mean, the wheat that we're eating today is not the same wheat that was even around 25 years ago. So wheat is a big inflammatory food for a lot of people. It will cause inflammation in the gut, cause inflammation in the brain. And so if we can get away from some of these inflammatory foods, you'll see the changes happen rapidly.
I know a big issue facing Americans is leaky gut. Explain what that is.
Yes. So leaky gut is from these foods that we're eating. So our gut has what's called tight junctions. So when we're eating these inflammatory foods, it interrupts those junctions and things leak out that aren't supposed to, things leak in that aren't supposed to, and there is a connection between the gut and the brain. So there's actually a nerve that runs between the gut and the brain. It's called the vagus nerve. So when your gut isn't healthy, your brain's not going to be healthy because of this reason of things leaking in that aren't supposed to, things leaking out.
And by changing your diet, it can actually change the brain fog or whatever.
Yeah, sure. Again, and we can do this rather quickly. The body wants to heal. The body wants to be at what we call homeostasis. It wants to be in a good place, but it needs the nutrition to be able to do that. So I know that diet and lifestyle is not what some people want to hear because that's very hard to change. But once you start to see the results, that's what keeps people on track.
Do you ever run into patients that will fight you? No, I need these pills. I need these pills, and you're trying to get them off of something that is like a security blanket for them.
Sure. I mean, a lot of them, they feel like because they were prescribed this, they're supposed to take them, or they feel like if they don't, they'll let their doctor down if they don't take them. But in some of the work that we're doing with regenerative medicine, people are happy to get off their pain pills. They're happy to not have to take these. We know all about the opioid epidemic that's going on in our country, and a lot of them are happy to get off once they see that their body's responding.
Let's talk about that for a little bit. How did the opioid epidemic get so bad?
I think because, we all want a quick, easy fix. We want that pill that will help take our problem away. And then these drugs, unfortunately, are we can get hooked on them very easily. And that's why we are where we are. And it's becoming so common. I heard the Surgeon General talk about it just the other day, how and his own brother is on opioids and hooked on opioids. But it has to start with treating the problem, not just giving a pill to cover it up, which is what our healthcare has been based on. Let's go back to how can we naturally fix this problem? How can we eat foods that don't cause inflammation? How can we eat foods that will fix this problem? How can we change lifestyle that can fix this problem instead of always being dependent upon a pill?
How malleable is the brain? If you're an opioid addict and your brain is changing, if you get them off the pills, can their brain go back to the way it was?
Sure. I mean, the body is a remarkable art piece. It is remarkable on how fast the body can change if you give it the right environment. Of course, there may be a point of no return, but if we give the body what it needs, it will respond.
Part of the problem, I guess, is the pleasure center of the brain and dopamine. Explain that and why that plays a role in addiction.
Well, sure. So that pleasure response, that's why we want to hit that pleasure response so that we feel good. But if we can do other things that help the brain neurotransmitters is what we call them, to help develop more of those naturally, well, then that's the natural fix to that problem.
Tell us what it's like to engage you. So somebody comes to visit you. What's the experience?
Sure. So when you come in, we're going to have you sit down with myself or one of my other providers. We always offer consultations for free. We want to sit down and get to know you, find out what's going on with you, see if we can help you. And at that point, discuss what we can do for you. We, of course, can't help everyone, but we're going to do our darndest to try. And if we can do something, then we'll talk to you about what that is. So in our office, we have several providers. We have medical providers. We have physical therapists, massage therapists, chiropractors. So we try to cover the whole gamut so you don't have to go from doctor's office to doctor's office. You can get everything that you need in one location.
Are you pretty good now at spotting? Like if somebody shows up in your office, even before you've done any blood work or tried, can you say, okay, this is probably a gluten person or?
Sure. I mean, you can see it in their eyes, in their face. You can see someone who is hurting with their knees just by the way they're walking, or someone who's having a back problem just because of how they're sitting or standing, and so yes, you get to pick these things out, and that's one of the things that when I'm going out shopping or at the mall, I start spotting people and saying, okay, yeah, I can help that person. And sometimes I'll walk up to them. If I'm feeling bold that day, I'll go up to them and say, you may want to come see me and see what we can do to help you.
I bet you just want to grab people, don't you? You're like, please. Or they're about to put another quarter pounder in their mouth, and you're like,
right. And show them that there's a different way. There's no reason why any of us should be living with these chronic illnesses. There's a way to turn this around. Of course, you have to be willing, but if you want to know that answer, we're here to help you find that answer.
There's that old saying that if all you have is a hammer, every problem is a nail. Is that one of the problems with medicine today?
I mean, I think so. Medicine has become a thing of either getting a prescription, like we talked about, getting some type of shot, or being scheduled for surgery. That's what they know how to do. And thank goodness for that. I mean, we need that person to do that in times of need. But for these chronic illnesses, there's a different way. You don't have to just jump to medication or jump to surgery. There are other things that we can do naturally to help the body heal itself.
I guess cynics would say there's no profit in wellness, that big pharmaceuticals, big hospital systems, wellness is bad for business.
Well, I guess if you're, on that side, there's some truth to that. But again, if we can keep people well, it will save billions of dollars on the other side. So we're all concerned about where our country's going and where healthcare dollars are being spent. If we load the front, which is much cheaper, then we will not be dependent on all these things that we see now, these long-term care centers and things like that. We're aging we're all living longer, so we got to think about who's going to take care of us? How are those dollars going to be spent? Is there going to be enough money? So we need to take care of ourselves now to be able to offstay that problem that's coming up.
Do you see that really as a solution to? I mean, whether it was Obamacare or Trump care or whoever care, if no one's paying attention to the wellness piece, the prices just keep going up. Oh,
sure. I mean, we see that all the time. We see how some of these pharmaceuticals take advantage of that and jack the prices of pills because they can. And that's our capitalistic society. That's kind of the price we pay. But if we spend that money on taking care of ourselves now, what I tell my patients is health is a choice, and it begins now. What you choose to do today impacts how your life's going to look like 5 years from now, 10 years from now. So I know that's a hard message to some people when they're feeling good and they feel like they can conquer the world. But if you don't make those daily choices, sometimes hour by hour choices, well, then there's going to be consequences, whether good or bad, that you're going to be paying later in life.
Let's talk about kids. Are parents doing a good job, getting their kids on the right path, or are parents, running from appointment to appointment and feeding their kids fast food and starting a dangerous journey? Sure.
I mean, we didn't have tater tots when we were kids. We didn't have, everything you pop into a microwave, these processed foods. So, yes, we need to pay attention to our children because these formative years when their brains are developing, like your other guest was saying, they need good nutrition. And if they don't get it and they're sitting around playing video games all day long, that rewires their brain. So we have to do something and pay attention to our kids and help them make healthy choices, delicious healthy choices, so that they will continue that into their adult lives.
You've been practicing for quite a while now, haven't you?
Quite a while. Yeah, 20. So yeah, 25 years I've had my own practice, and I've been in practice for about 30 years now.
Wow. How have patients changed in 30 years? I mean, are they sicker than they were 30 years ago?
I think the awareness has definitely risen that I need to do something, and I think people are seeing that they have choices. Whereas, 50 years ago, whatever the MD said, that's what I do. But now people are becoming more educated because of the internet, and they know that they have other alternatives than just the pills and surgery.
Let's talk about sleep for a minute, because I think, as Americans, we're wired, we're tired, we're drinking Starbucks to get up, taking pills to go to sleep, and then doing it all over again. How important is sleep to a healthy body?
Sleep is when your body repairs. So if you're not getting good sleep, well, then your body's not repairing itself. So we have to get that good, and some people need 8 hours, some people need 10. So you just got to go with what your body tells you. The other night, I fell asleep at 8:30, and I was being harassed about falling asleep at 8:30, but that's just what my body needed that night. So you got to give your body the time to rest, because if you're not resting, you're not healing. That's when your gut is active and your brain is repairing, so you need that time to sleep.
And people don't listen to their body, do they? They just push through energy drinks and...
Exactly. So yes, you have to be more in tune with your body. Meditation is a great time to be in tune with your body, even if it's 5 minutes of meditation. And making little goals for yourself that you will drink water today instead of just the Starbucks drinks or the energy drinks, or that you will do something active to... your body, we only have one. Mm-hmm. And if we're going to last, the age range is continually growing. I think now women are expected to live 85 years, men 83. So we only got one body, and we're living longer. We got to take care of it.
You talked about meditation. It seems that we're also stressed out, and stress releases hormones that can be dangerous. Is that right?
That's true. So cortisol is that stress hormone, which we need some cortisol, but because of our stressful lives, we're producing way too much. And this can hold on to weight. It can cause damage to cells if there's too much cortisol. So yes, we have to quieten ourselves, get in tune with our bodies so that we can try to manage stress, whatever that is, whether that's a workout, whether that's just being quiet for 5 or 10 minutes, or riding your bike or whatever. But we have to have that outlet, which a lot of us don't take the time to do, or this cortisol, this stress it'll damage our bodies. I mean, that's what, again, leads to the inflammation, the stress diseases that we see these days, from cancer to heart attack to stroke. We have to get that under control.
We're coming up on New Year's resolution season, and we all make that promise to diet and exercise, and then, within 3 weeks we were back to our old selves. What's the secret to keeping that resolution?
I think just, again, making small goals for yourself. So anything looking too large, it seems overwhelming. So just every day, wake up, give yourself the grace that today I'm going to do this, or the next day. And if you fail, that's okay. Just realize that you did and try to make a change the next day or the next hour. But I think just practicing small goals that are attainable is a much more realistic way to try to manage change than trying to look at it as the big picture too quickly.
Who's easier to work with as a patient, men or women?
Wow. So women will be the ones who come into the office or force their significant others to come into the office. Both are quite both fun to work with. I mean, we have equal participation both in our office, and just as long as I have someone who's willing, that's all that I ask for.
Outstanding. Will you give us your website one more time?
Sure. It's DallasNaturalDoctor.com.
Outstanding. We're going to have you back. This is a great segment.
Thank you, Jeff.
And that's it for this week. We'll see you all next Saturday.